I give notice that on the next sitting day, I'll move 1, that this House notes with concern that A, for 17 years, the people of Bangladesh endured authoritarian rule under former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, marked by severe human rights abuses, suppression of democracy and electoral fraud. Following nationwide student-led protests in mid-2024, the government collapsed and Hasina fled the country in August 2024. B, according to Human Rights Watch, Reuters and the United Nations, more than 2,732 people were killed, over 30,000 were injured, and at least 39 children lost their lives during the protests. These atrocities, as well as the events of the Bangladesh Monsoon Revolution genocide, which occurred in July and August of 2024, the result in the deaths of thousands, reflect a broader pattern of repression spanning the past 17 years, during which political dissent was met with extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances, and systematic persecution of journalists, activists, and opposition figures. C, Bangladesh's electoral process was systematically undermined under the Hasina administration. The 2014, 2018 and 2024 elections were widely condemned for vote rigging, intimidation and manipulation. The abolition of the caretaker government system in 2011 removed critical safeguards for free and fair elections, enabling the ruling party to eliminate political opposition and maintain power through fraudulent means. D, the Rapid Action Battalion, a paramilitary force, has been implicated in extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances and torture. According to Human Rights Watch, over 2,699 people have been unlawfully killed by RAB since 2009, and the force has operated with complete impunity, suppressing dissent and terrorising political opponents. E, the judiciary under the Hasina administration was weaponised to silence critics, imprison opposition leaders and protect regime loyalists. Judicial bias, politically motivated prosecutions and the misuse of laws such as the Digital Security Act to suppress free speech have severely undermined Bangladesh's legal system. And F, without elected representatives, Bangladesh currently faces serious challenges, including internal and external threats, corruption and instability. It is critical that Bangladesh's democratic transition is supported by the United Nations in accordance with international human rights obligations, including by providing technical assistance for electoral reforms and monitoring the electoral process, holding the former regime accountable for human rights violations through independent investigations and sanctions against those responsible, and ensuring the interim government upholds its commitments to democracy and is not enabled to become another authoritarian regime. 2, that this House reaffirms its commitment to democracy, human rights and the rule of law, and stands in solidarity with the Bangladeshi people's fight for national sovereignty, stability and justice, which relies on an urgent return to democratic governance through free and fair elections. And 3, that this House calls on the Australian government to advocate for the interim government of Bangladesh, led by Professor Dr. Mohammed Yunus, to A, deliver justice and accountability for the victims of the Monsoon Revolution genocide in recognition that the people of Bangladesh deserve truth, justice and reparations for the crimes committed against them. B, announce an electoral roadmap without delay, ensuring that 1, free, fair and internationally monitored elections are held no later than December 2025, and an independent election commission is established with strict anti-fraud measures. 2, a level playing field is ensured for all political parties, and 3, electoral integrity is restored to prevent future manipulation and instability. C, immediately disband the Rapid Action Battalion and hold those responsible for extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearance and torture accountable, conduct independent investigations and legal proceedings against individuals responsible for human rights abuses, and establish a restructured law enforcement system that upholds human rights, transparency and accountability. D, end the weaponisation of the judiciary by restoring judicial independence and eliminating political influence over judicial appointments and rulings, reviewing and dismissing politically motivated cases against opposition leaders, journalists and activists, and repealing or reforming repressive laws such as the Digital Security Act in line with international human rights standards. And E, strengthen anti-corruption measures by establishing a transparent and independent anti-corruption body to investigate financial misconduct under the previous regime, prosecuting those involved in embezzlement, money laundering and abuse of power, and systematically dismantling corruption in public institutions to restore public trust in governance. Thank you.
Thank you.